Hello, dear fans, friends, and subscribers. Welcome to a very exciting cricket happening show. The reason I say it exciting is because England have won the ODI series in style. It looked like South Africa were about to actually level the ODI series at the AGS Bowl, and what an over! A sensational over from Mark Wood. I mean, even being so inexperienced and young, I thought he really impressed a lot. I mean, to bowl a nerveless final over with 7 runs of 6 balls required, we had two well settled batsmen at the crease for the South Africans. One was David Miller, who was there at the crease, almost 70 odd runs to his name, and Chris Morris was batting on a spanking 36, and it was just a matter of time. 7 runs required, and today Chris Wokes was not playing, and Morgan actually entrusted the responsibility to young Mark Wood, and what an over from him. 7 runs required of 6 deliveries, and one would have definitely said that South Africa have already clinched it, and they would have probably, even in the locker room, they would have felt that it's all over. South Africa have actually leveled the ODI series. But look at what happened. So let me take you down to the AGS Bowl and recreate the drama that happened in this particular match. 7 of 6 required. Mark Wood is bowling the first delivery. Miller is on strike. It's a short ball down the leg side, and it's pulled down to the long leg. So a single comes in. So there's a single there. So that makes it 6 of 5 deliveries now. And let's see what happens. The next ball that Wood delivers to Morris is once again a 1 run. Again, a very good length. I mean, I would say Wood, the reason Wood was interested is that Wood is the most sharpest, and he actually gets some good pace off the wicket, and that's what he precisely did. And that was struck well, but again the ball went straight to the fielder, and Morris had to be content for 1. So now the equation came down to 5 runs required of the next 4 balls, and Wood bowls the third ball to Miller, and that is a dot ball. Now that was very interesting. In fact, Miller had actually left his crease, but it was very good on the part of Mark Wood to actually follow the batsman, and it beat the top edge of the bat of this, and now the equation came down to 5 runs of 3 balls, and real tension there. Lots of discussions going on between Morgan, Butler coming in and also joining in, and then Wood bowls the fourth delivery to David Miller, and this time Miller tries with all his might to go for a pull shot, but again it definitely went past, screeching along past the square leg umpire, where to really duck in, but it was fielded, and only 1 run. And now the final thing, it came to 4 of 2 balls, and now it was tremendous pressure. I would say 4 of 2 balls, and what an over. Just look at the over Wood bowled. And the next ball that Wood bowled to Morris, once again a dot ball. I mean, Morris shaped up for a pull shot, and this time it did not. I mean, he missed it, and the wicketkeeper, Butler, actually taking it behind the wicket. And finally, the match came down to the wire as the last ball, and 4 runs were required, and one was really waiting as to what is going to happen, whether England is going to win this match or whether Morris is going to club one into the stands, or probably hit a boundary. So one was waiting for that, and definitely it was Morris once again trying to heave Wood with all the fielders in the fence. Morris tried to heave Wood, and in the process it did not work out, and that was all over. There was a crestfallen Morris who was sitting on his haunches as this match came to an end, and Mark Wood has bowled a sensational over, I would say. I mean, to come here and the reason I say it's a sensational over is that you had 2 well-settled batsmen at the crease in the form of Chris Morris and David Miller, and one knows for a fact that they were actually they were eyeing the ball very well at the time, and to lose. I thought South Africans, definitely a lot of credit to Mark Wood for getting them an unlikely victory, I would say, because 7 runs, one would have thought that South Africa would have leveled the ODI series, but it's all over. England were the victors, and thanks to Mark Wood, what an over he delivered. Definitely, this is something which will give him a great boost of confidence going ahead to the Champions Trophy. And now South Africa have just a formality to fulfill in the final ODI. It's a 3-match ODI series. England have already won the Royal London Cup, and congratulations to England for doing so. A match 330 for 6 with Ben Stokes getting on to a ton. Ben Stokes getting on to his second ODI century. So that is something. So I just wanted to enact the drama there. But now I'll be talking about this match, but also I will have to tell you that there was a warm-up match which was played today in the Champions Trophy, and that match was also a real humdinger, I would say, because it was played between Bangladesh and Pakistan at Edgbaston in Birmingham. And Bangladesh, as I said, as I've already been telling in my cricket show, that I termed them as the dark horses of this ICC Champions Trophy. And today they showed, they showed with their batting. And look at that score of Bangladesh, 341 for 9. And Tamim Iqbal stood there like a real rock. 102 of 93 deliveries, 9 fours and 4 sixes. And with a lot of contributions coming in. And then Pakistan challenging that total in a really, really mighty manner. And even though they got good contributions from Shoaib Malik, but the man, the hero, was Fahim Ashraf, a very new guy. And this guy was dynamite, I would say, because he clubbed 64 unbeaten runs. They were 249 for 8 in the 43rd over when this bloke walked in, or probably 242 when Shadab Khan. But Fahim Ashraf totally changed the picture, and looks to be a real dangerous bloke, as he showed with the bat today, as he belted an unbeaten 64 of just 41 deliveries, of 30 deliveries in fact. Look at the strike rate of this. He was having a strike rate of 200 with 4 fours and 4 sixes, and really, I think Bangladesh would have been stunned by this assault by Fahim Ashraf, the new bloke from Pakistan. Well, dear fans, so those are the 2 matches I'm going to look at, but definitely we are going to look in greater detail on the match between South Africa and England. So it was a good toss to win here at the Rose Bowl in Southampton. South Africa won the toss, and on very overcast conditions, they decided to insert England into bat. And definitely the start was very good for South Africa, as Rabada sounded the death rattle, as Jason Roy was the first to go, as he tried to flick a delivery which was probably coming in absolutely straight. And Jason Roy playing across the line, trying to flick it, his customary flick shot, ended up with the timber being disturbed, and Jason Roy was on his way back. Bowled by Rabada for 8 of 16 with 1-4. Alex Hales and Joe Root slowly picked up the pieces together and tried to join it by putting a partnership of 58 runs for the second wicket. And as that was going on, Joe Root, who had made 39 of 41 deliveries, fell a victim, as Pretorius actually got Alex Hales to push a delivery, and Joe Root had actually left the non-striker's end. He has left the crease, and Pretorius actually just fingered the ball, and the ball went and hit the stumps, and it was an unfortunate run out for Joe Root for 39. After that, Alex Hales was out to the bowling of Pretorius for 24 of 28 balls with 2 fours and 1 6, and Morgan made 45, 64 balls with 4 fours, made it 175 for 4. And look at this, Ben Stokes was there in the center, and you will know why he makes a big difference. But one can say that Ben Stokes was a very, very lucky candidate today, because Keshav Maharaj, the left-arm spinner, who was actually making his debut, had him drop of the very first 2 balls that he faced in this particular inning. The first ball that Maharaj bowled, it was Amla who actually grasped it, and then Quinton de Kock grasping the next one, back-to-back deliveries, and also one can say that if you are going to drop a person or drop a batsman of the caliber of Ben Stokes, he can hurt you the most, and that he precisely did as he slammed 101. After that, he really took on the South African bowlings to really smash them all across the park. And one of the strokes that he hit was a real stunner. He sent Chris Morris into the Shane Warne stance, and also he hit some massive sixes as well. As his contribution was 101 runs of 79 deliveries, 11 fours and 3 marvelous sixes. Butler clubbed 65 unbeaten runs of 53 balls with 7 fours, and Moeen Ali, like the previous day, biffed 33 of 19 deliveries, 5 fours, as England picked up a total of 330 for 6 of their 50 overs. The bowling, Rabada 10 overs, 2 for 50. Morris went for 66 of his full quota. Pretorius went for 61 with 1 wicket. Keshav Maharaj, very unlucky to have been dropped twice for the very first 2 balls that he bowled on his debut. And 10 overs making his ODI debut. And Keshav Maharaj was slammed for 72 runs with 1 wicket, and he got the wicket of Ben Stokes. Felikawaya was another one who really suffered from the blade of both. In fact, he was hit for 4 fours in a single over by Josh Butler. 10 overs, 1 minute and 1 for 74. Now and also one has to say that England today, the South African fielding was absolutely ragged, and they probably dropped 5 chances in the whole match, 3 or 4, 2 of Ben Stokes, and this is not something that one would be expecting from a number 1 ranked ODI team, South Africa. But nevertheless, so England actually benefited from those fielding lapses, and especially from the major fielding lapse that of Ben Stokes, as they profited to 330. As far as South African innings was concerned, Hashim Amla made 24. Stokes was the one who provided them the breakthrough when he picked him up for 24 of 29 balls. Quinton de Kock was in his element. He was stroking the ball freely and fluently. And as you know, Quinton de Kock has the power. Basically, more than the power, he has some very good timing. Du Plessis contributed only 16 before Plunkett priced him out for 16 of 20 deliveries, 2 fours. A.B. de Villiers came in, and the tempo of the game changed a bit as the runs started really coming in thick and fast, I would say, as I think 96 runs were added with these 2 pair at the crease. Quinton de Kock looking fully good, and also A.B. de Villiers, as we all know, playing in that aggressive vein of his. As that was going on, finally took a wonderful delivery. It took a real, I would say, a delivery from Liam Plunkett, which actually A.B. de Villiers it was a short delivery, the ball bounced, and A.B. de Villiers actually trying to sway away from the ball and probably trying to carve the ball. By the time A.B. de Villiers could do it, it was too late, as the ball had already grazed the bat, and Butler behind the stumps had already snapped up the catch, and de Villiers was gone for 52 of 50 deliveries, 6 fours. David Miller walked in to join Quinton de Kock. Quinton de Kock thoroughly deserved his century. He was really getting on there, and South Africa were not bothered. In fact, if you were having the comparative scores of both the teams, South Africa was still doing well, as the commentators were actually alluding to. Quinton de Kock definitely looked good for his century, but look at what happened. Quinton de Kock could not do what Ben Stokes did by scoring his second ODI century. Quinton de Kock was a goner, as Moeen Ali picked up his wicket. Caught Butler bowled Ali, but he fell 2 runs short, 98 with 11 boundaries. He would have got his 13th ODI century had he got his century. And then it left Farhan Bahardin coming in. Farhan Bahardin definitely could not put bat to ball. David Miller, on the other hand, really started off a bit slowly, but later on we saw David Miller getting on to those very good sweep shots of his. and also those clubbed sixes that he used to hit. Behardine came in. Behardine struggled to put bat to ball, and Plunkett actually picked up his wicket for 17. And then the drama started. And then David, and that was the time when the score at 266 for 5, and there was still a long way to go for South Africa. But Chris Morris came in and slowly started getting into gear with some very good, with some real spanking sixes that he hit. And he hit Jake Ball for a marvelous six. David Miller also was doing, and both were slowly getting on there. And we saw that really things were getting pretty tight for England there, with South African pair of Miller and Morris really taking them close. And finally, South Africa were looking in absolute control until the last 10 balls of the innings, which really changed everything. As first it was Jake Ball, who today got an opportunity to play only because Chris Woakes was not playing, and we all know Jake Ball is not the ideal replacement for Chris Woakes, but one would have, even though England won the ODI series, one was thinking that if Chris Woakes would have been played, I think Chris Woakes would have definitely played a major role. But nevertheless, Jake Ball also did a good job. The last four balls, last four balls of the 49th over, one would have expected David Miller and Morris to do it with 60 runs in 6 overs that they've added at the rate of 10 runs. It was probably a matter of time. But what a bowling spell. Jake Ball first started putting the doubts in the batsmen's minds by actually just giving away a single of the last 4 balls of his over, which was a splendid effort, I thought, under the circumstances. And then as I recreated the drama for you, that Mark Wood sensational over, 7 runs required of the final over, and Mark Wood concedes 5 runs and picks up a win for England, and that to an ODI series win. But Miller, as I said, Morris was absolutely crestfallen. He was on his haunches, but nevertheless, that was it. Morris finished unbeaten, 36 of 22 deliveries, 3 fours and 2 sixes. Miller was not out on 71 of 51 deliveries, 5 fours and 2 sixes. Game over. England actually winning the match by just 2 runs and taking the ODI series 2-0. Mark Wood, he's definitely a real hero for England today. 10 overs no made and none for 48. And one probably feels that Mark Wood is the quickest of the lot, and that's the precise reason he was a difficult bowler to handle. But I thought it was smart thinking on the part of Mark Wood with his deliveries that he bowled. Jake Ball, 10 overs none for 81. Ben Stokes, 3 overs 1 for 12. Liam Plunkett, 10 overs no made and 64. He got a bit of beating, but he took the most important wicket of A.B. de Villiers. Adil Rashid, 6 overs for 41. Moeen Ali, 8 overs 1 for 59. 3 overs for 18 for Joe Root. And Ben Stokes, for his second ODI century, took away the man of the match. Well, now let's get on to the skimmer, as I'm talking about the warm-up game between Pakistan and Bangladesh. So it was Bangladesh who actually batted first here, and they got to a total of 341 for 9 by any standards. It was a good score by Bangladesh. Tamim Iqbal at the top of the order, crashing 102 of 93 deliveries, 9 fours and 4 sixes. Sarkar making 19 of 22 with 3 fours. Imrul Kais 61 of 62 with 8 fours. 46 from Mushfiqur Rahim of 35, 3 boundaries. Shakib Al Hasan 23, Mahmudullah 29, Mosaddeq Hussain 26, 341, and definitely 341 was a wonderful score by the Bangladesh batsman. And Junaid Khan was the most successful, 4 wickets for 73 runs and 2 wickets to Hassan Ali and 2 to Shadab Khan. Pakistan innings targeting 342 runs to win. The start was not good. In fact, Bangladesh definitely had them on a tight rope here when they picked up the wicket of Taskin Ahmed, nipped up the wicket of Azhar Ali, and Babar Azam was out cheaply for 1 to Mashraf Murtaza. Ahmed Shahzad contributed a very brisk 44 of 40 deliveries with 5 fours and 1 6. And then the experience of Mohammad Hafiz and Shoaib Malik, who stabilized the innings with a very good partnership, and that really played a key role. 49 from Mohammad Hafiz of 62 balls with 6 fours. Shoaib Malik making 72 of 66 deliveries, 6 fours and 2 sixes. Sarfraz Ahmed failing with the bat with 5. And Imad Wasim contributing 45 50 with 4 fours. Sharab Khan. And that time one thought that with 249 for 8 in the 43rd over, I mean, I'm sure it was still a long way to go. Almost 90, I would say 93 runs still required in the balance, I would say 42 balls. But what a, I mean, in 39 balls, that bloke, Fahim Ashraf, we have not heard about him much. He's probably come here for the first major tournament, and when I was not really, he bowled. I thought that he definitely bowled. But what about his batting? This guy seemed to be a surprise packet from Pakistan, as he slammed an unbeaten 64 of just 30 deliveries, with 4 fours and 4 sixes to show his hitting capabilities. And Hassan Ali was the other one who actually kept him great company to score an unbeaten 27 of 15 balls with 2 fours and 1 six to do the impossible, I would say, as Pakistan won the match in a great fashion by 2 wickets. And what a victory that was. That would be a real morale booster for Pakistan ahead of the match against India, which is coming up, which everyone is waiting with bated breath to have a glimpse of. Mashrafa Murtaza, the wicket takers, nothing to really talk about. The Bangladeshi batsmen, bowlers really received a real battering. Well, dear fan subscribers, I don't have much to talk, but keep an eye on Cricket Happenings today. Your host Ram is going to be with you to preview all the 8 teams in this ICC Champions Trophy 2017, and I'll try my best to complete it today. Well, dear fans and subscribers, so keep an eye, keep looking at Cricket Happenings. Your host Ram will be appearing today in probably on a frequent basis. Thanks for your company and thanks for watching Cricket Happenings. This is your host Ram signing off for now. Thank you.